The boy has never been ill since he was a child, but when he goes to the zoo, all the animals saw him. They all looked horrified. He was born at 6 o'clock on June 6th. It is also seen as an unlucky time. Weird things are happening to boys more and more. What is his real identity? As a comet falls, the Pope's face was terrified. He held a great religious convention. According to all the prophecies in the Bible, this time the comet came to Earth, will herald the arrival of the devil. A human catastrophe is inevitable. Everyone could not hide their sad faces. At the same time, diplomat Robert was escorted by a guard. He rushed to the maternity hospital in a hurry. His wife Julia is in labor. But when he went straight to the delivery room, there was a priest standing at the door. "I've been waiting for," he told Robert. His child died at birth. Julia, who's resting, doesn't know yet. A sudden blow. It was too much for Robert to accept. Yet a greater tragedy lay ahead. Julia's uterus was damaged. "I'm afraid I'll never get pregnant again." The news sent Robert into an emotional tailspin. But the priest also showed him a way. "Take him to another room in the hospital. There's a new baby here, and the time of his child's death. The mother died in childbirth. The child doesn't have any family. Maybe this is fate in the dark." The priest wanted Robert to adopt him, to raise him as his own son. "My wife's mother's dream." Robert asked to see his son one last time. The priest declined politely. The reason is to leave love to the living. And so Robert took the child. He hugged his wife, who had just woken up. The couple named him David. "Pour all my love into him." In the care of two people, David grew healthy and safe every day. Good things have happened. Robert's superior was transferred to the British ambassador. He was also appointed guardian ambassador. The couple embraced excitedly, but on his way to England, a freak car accident killed him on the spot. Ambassador Robert Wood made no mistake, became the youngest ambassador ever. The family's move to a big house was a happy occasion, but Robert was not happy. It wasn't his intention to step on dead bodies. 2 years later, David was 5 years old. The couple held a grand birthday party for him. It wasn't just the rich and famous who came, and the press. After the nanny gave David to Julia, he turned to see a black dog staring straight at him. The nurse seemed bewitched. Right up on the roof, he stood up with burlap twine around his neck. With a big smile on his face, he shouted at David, "I did it all for you." And then he jumped. A reporter took a picture of the killing. All the guests were also caught in the scene. They ran away screaming in terror. Robert quickly picked up his son to comfort him. David was not afraid. He waved to the black dog not far away. The birthday party with the death. It quickly made headlines. The reporter who first took the photo, Robert accidentally bumped into it. In the face of his unsolicited compensation, the reporter said it didn't matter, even if Robert owes him one. Robert is discussing the matter with his assistant. A man calling himself a professor asked to see him. Start by talking about Robert's mistakes, causing the demons to wreak havoc, and then everything about him will be taken. Robert didn't want to listen to this nonsense, but as he turned to leave, Marcus proposed. "I was in the hospital when David was born. I executed myself to atone for my sins." This made Robert stop and turn back. But old Boo went on. David's birth mother was actually a foxwolf. Such nonsense made Robert thoroughly angry, called in security, and kicked the old man out. Because of the nanny's death, the couple desperately needed to find a new nanny, but the interview took all day. Julia couldn't even find the right one. Then a woman under trial offered herself, even though he's not on the list. But the pair decided to try a trial anyway. Likeability and a rich resume make them happy. The decision to hire him was immediate. The second day, the family of 3 is going to a church service. But as we get closer to the church, David was getting worse and worse. Suddenly David went crazy and started attacking Julia. Robert held on to his son for dear life. Julia's forehead was dripping with blood. Such a look is clearly not fit for public view. They had to turn back and go home. David slowly quieted down. A woman's sixth sense. Have Julia offered to see a doctor about David. After all, this kid's been around ever since. "I've never been sick." This is obviously not a normal phenomenon. But Robert thought Julia was worrying too much. He was just afraid of his wife finding out. The child is not their own.